What up, everybody? Welcome back to the third ever episode of the Anime Virgin podcast. We are discussing Attack on Titan Season 2 today. We got my co-host, Briggs. What up, Briggs?
What up, bro? It's good to be here.
And the Attack on Titan Virgin, Ray himself.
What up, boys? Really happy to be here again.
And very exciting information about this season. Ray could not contain himself and had to text me a number of times to say, bro, I really like this season. This is my favorite. So I'm super excited to see what he liked about it. Let's get some initial thoughts going, Ray.
Sure. So, yeah, you basically revealed this was by far my favorite sequence of episodes.
Yeah, that's how he phrased it too. The sequence of episodes.
Well, I don't know, because you're saying like you're comparing a season. You only have one other season to compare, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to split it up into two.
So this was your favorite 12 sequence of episodes. Yeah, it's accurate. It's just funny how you say it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's interesting because a lot is revealed. But then there's a lot that is still pretty confusing, and like I'm still curious about a lot of things. I think what's interesting is like the people's perspective on the Titans are changing, and so like mine's changing as well. I'm learning to be a lot more critical of characters. So before, like, I wouldn't really be critical. I take them at face value, and now I'm learning to be a lot more critical of like who they are, their intentions. Again, it's super philosophical, which I love that. Like, identity is super complex at this point. Like, empathy is complex. We talked about empathizing with characters, and like at certain times I'm like, is it okay to empathize with this person? So that's, I think, really interesting.
And I feel like the characters themselves are dealing with empathy like issues as well.
Yeah,
like, if you look at Mikasa, like she's struggling to like care for anyone but Eren at this point, and we'll get into it when we get into it, but she's kind of throwing everyone else aside.
Yeah, I would say Mikasa, like, Eren and Mikasa are that crew, the three-man crew, the Three Musketeers, like Armin, Eren, and Mikasa. So Eren's obviously for her number one, but yeah, when you go below Armin, like, she won't. I mean, maybe she did hesitate there, but usually she would not hesitate to like kill someone, even if they were on the same team, if they were standing in the way of Eren.
But that's what surprised me, right? She did hesitate, and we'll get into it when we get into it, but she hesitated. She showed empathy, and it surprised me. And then after that, I feel like she regretted it, and like it maybe caused her to change in a certain way.
Oh, interesting. I want to explore that because I didn't have the same thought. Maybe just because like I didn't spend too much time thinking about it. But I look forward to you seeing and explaining how you think she changed.
I mean, it's so interesting watching. Like, I'm really excited to see Ray's perspective, but it's so interesting watching something for a second time because I'm looking at it
so much, man.
I'm
especially
looking at
something like
everything
Attack on
from
Titan.
such a different perspective, right?
Yes, and me too. And yeah, Attack on Titan, I gotta tell you guys, it is worth the rewatch. When you know what's gonna happen, even though none of us know exactly what's gonna happen because it's not over, but when you know a lot of things in future seasons, looking back, you're like, holy shit, the significance of that. Holy shit, the significance of this conversation. It's mind-blowing. So I really do recommend to truly even understand where we're at now that you rewatch the show. And I will say, I believe it was Sam told us that this, like, asked Ray, how would you feel, Ray, if you had to wait like I don't remember exactly how many, 4 or 5 years from season 1 to this season? Like, how would that affect your watching experience? Because that's the way most of us had to do it. And yeah, like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it would be tough. I mean, we finished the end of season 1 with that Titan in the wall, and you're just wondering, like, how did it get there? At the end, I think, of season 1, they were talking about how we have to be more aware of, like, Titans are within the wall now. They're not necessarily outside the wall, and processing what that means. Like, are humans Titans? Obviously, we learn a lot more in this season, but there's so many things up in the air, and waiting that long would have been crazy. So I'm glad I don't have to. I'm glad I could jump right in right away. But
yeah,
I could imagine people watching it live, how tough it would have been.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they don't rewatch it, because sometimes you're like, oh, I kind of remember, but I strongly recommend people to like rewatch because you're gonna forget things. A lot of stuff is not gonna be as significant or make as much sense. So Ray, you're lucky in a sense because yeah, you get to watch it week by week, like a few episodes a day. So I definitely think that's the best way to do it.
And even the storytelling itself, I mean, we talked about it is complex. Like there's so many times where there's small jumps in time, and if you don't catch it right away, like I know that one episode that I think started with them in the scout training in the winter. Like I don't think I caught right away that there was this
Time skip.
time skip, and I'm like, what the hell's going on for like the first like minute or so. Then I have to go back and then, okay, I guess this is what's happening. So I mean, it's such a sophisticated form of storytelling that like you need to be aware in the moment. So I totally agree with the idea that, you know, going back is probably super helpful and catching things that maybe you didn't catch the first time. Cause there's going to be things like you'll probably reference and I'll be like, I didn't even realize that because there's so much going on that you don't catch those small details.
Yeah, this is not Attack on Titan isn't one of those shows you kind of just like throw on in the background. I feel like Dragon Ball Z
No.
you could kind of just enjoy. If you miss 5 minutes,
Absolutely.
you missed nothing, right? With Attack on Titan, you missed so much. There's so much mystery. There's so many like reveals that are amazing, and I feel like even like that 5 year gap from season 1 to season 2, if I didn't rewatch season 1, I wouldn't appreciate what was happening in season 2 to the same extent. Like we're starting off with season 2 with the Titans like face in the wall. We know Annie was in her like frozen state. They're trying to figure out the wall and all that, and then it gets into some crazy stuff halfway through the season. But like I think I wouldn't appreciate it as much if I didn't remember exactly what was going on in season 1.
Exactly. And that's what Ray mentioned too, that we forgot that he thinks we forgot to mention the Wall Titan, right, Ray?
Yeah, we forgot last time because it was at the ending credits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine because like, yeah, we're gonna discuss like first thing this episode because that's kind of where we start off. But yeah. So Ray, what did you think about Titans being in the walls? The very things keeping them safe from Titans are there's Titans inside, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I saw that Titan in the wall, and especially like maybe I'll just break down the very beginning of the first episode and then I'll kind of talk about my reaction. But yeah, we get that Titan in the wall. I think it's Wall Cena. And like Hanji is shocked to see it. The pastor comes up and says, like, don't let the sunlight hit it, and it needs to be, you know, covered by the sunlight. And I'm thinking, yeah, is this a human? Like, again, because we've seen humans transform into Titans. So that whole idea of Titan-human relationship came up. So I thought, you know, could it possibly be humans who are Titans who are just hiding out within the walls? And then I think even like Hanji like is going to make a theory, and then she's interrupted right there. So we don't fully get her theory. But my like reaction was just maybe it's humans that, you know, don't want people to know that they're Titans, so they're hiding out within the wall itself.
That's interesting.
That's all I can think
of. Also, but we do know that like what's it called? Like they multiple times this season they were like trying to do plans at night because supposedly they lose their energy, they lose their power if they don't have sunlight, right? So like to me, it would like imply like cover it up so like it doesn't have strength to try to escape. Maybe that's what I thought. At least we actually still I don't really know what the actual answer was, but that's what I thought.
And just to let everyone know, if you're wondering, because we'll address this later, probably the outer wall, the most outer wall is Wall Maria, and then the middle one is Wall Rose, and then the wall inside the most is Wall Cena. So Wall Rose is the one that they think is breached later on because they found Titans inside the walls.
We got Sam. Of course, we got Sam in chat saying those wall Titans must be hungry, bruh. I guess they were standing for over 100 years.
I'm very curious about why Titans don't need to eat. You know, like that's still a big mystery to me. How they function just off of sunlight. Very interesting stuff, and we will obviously continue the line of thought we're talking about right now, and what happens after the Wall Titans. But I do want to know, Ray, what did you think of the dinosaurs in the intro of season 2? By the way, that's the Sasageo, intro, which is absolute fire. But Ray, what did you think about the animals and dinosaurs and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm guessing there's not like a Dragon Ball Z-esque thing going on where
Dragon.
The times are mixed and we have like past and future. So what I'm thinking is, it goes to show that these Titans have been around like a long time, basically, possibly like prehistoric. I mean, we don't.
Oh man, that's interesting.
We haven't gotten much in the context of how long they've like been there recorded wise, right? And we get that closing theme, which I know you asked me to like pay attention to, where we have like those hieroglyphics of Titans. So in terms of what it means, I'm thinking that it's just like there's so much kind of unwritten history out there about how long the Titans have existed. And I think it's that furry beast Titan that's with the dinosaurs. So that one's a mystery to me as well, in terms of like how long has that been around? Obviously, we learned that Ymir has been around for at least 60 years or something. So that I find that interesting in terms of like how long have these humans / Titans been alive for, and why isn't she aging? So I'm thinking maybe it has some sort of signal towards Titans have been like around since prehistoric times.
That is so interesting to hear your perspective on that. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy that. But yeah, we could get back to the story, guys, after the Wall Titans, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. So we get the Wall Titans, and then I think that's when we get like one of our first time skips 12 hours before with Sasha, who I was so happy to see Sasha back. She was so funny in those first.
She is a great character.
We get Rhina, who I'm trying to think, did he make much of an appearance before? Because we get a lot of secondary characters who take on a bigger role in this season.
Reiner, I feel like, was definitely present throughout, and I think he got decent. Like, he got decent moments with Eren, where he was kind of a big brother to him. So, obviously, you can't compare anyone to Eren, Mikasa, and Armin. But I think Reiner was right up there with the rest of them.
Yeah, I feel like Bertolt was relatively quiet, but Reiner, I think, was up front. Like, he was training with Eren when they were doing combat, right? They had that whole thing with Annie going on. And even in, like, trying to rescue Eren, he was, like, kind of with Armin and stuff. Like, he's been kind of he's definitely been present in season 1.
Yeah, he was present, yeah. I don't know if we've talked much about him so far, but... yeah, he was. So we have those guys, Connie as well, who they are basically, they hear the footsteps of the Titans approaching. And then this guy named Mike, I think, he spots the Titans coming.
That's humanity's second strongest soldier by title.
Yeah,
so he's said to only be second to Levi. Although I'd argue Mikasa is probably like more skilled, but yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah. So no, he was a pretty sick soldier there. But yeah, he tells them to basically their mission is to go out and warn the surrounding like villages about these Titans, which leads to a bunch of other things as well. But I think that first episode is focused on Mika going after that that Titan, that unusual Titan we haven't seen before with the fur. Because I don't think we've seen any Titan. We've seen them with hair. We haven't seen them with fur.
Yeah, we've never seen a Titan like that. The rest have all been like much more human-like in appearance.
Yeah, thinking of like prehistoric, like it's very kind of like monkey-esque. Like it has the long arms. It's like less evolved, maybe. I don't know.
It's like I don't know if like Bigfoot is like the right thing to use or like Yeti, but like, it's like those. It's like those legends almost.
Yeah. But I mean, that Titan itself was so different. And that's what was interesting because it goes up to Mika and doesn't want to kill him at first. And is talking, which we've never seen, I think.
Yeah. What was your reaction to that, bro?
Well, right when I saw that, I thought, okay, it's got to be some sort of human, like, again, like Transformer, like Eren, like Annie. But then just the fact that he like looks at him, asks about the the travel gear, and then like he's just speechless, so he takes it from him, like the small gear in his hands, and then basically is able to communicate with the other Titans to kill him. Like that just,
yeah.
I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Think about this for a second. The armored titan, the colossal titan, what's it called, the female titan. We've never heard any of them speak. But the big monk, the one that you think would be like more prehistoric, has like clear intelligence here, and like grabbed the horse, tossed it over at them, right? Takes the gear. Like he's able to speak. He clearly has intelligence. Like it was a crazy little twist that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Bro, the horse moment was crazy for me. Like when he picked it up, a horse, and not only picked up a horse, which is strange by itself, but threw it at him, bro. That was so insane. Like talk about unexpected like twists.
And he's super like articulate when he talks. He has like a human type voice, unlike Amir, who when she talks, it sounds very like beast like. Like his voice was like you didn't get that like non-human vibe to him. Like he spoke and he had that kind of human voice, which was really interesting compared to some of the other ones we've seen. But yeah, we get that whole situation in the first episode, and that threw me off. I just wanted to know like who is this person? Like it's so different compared to the other Titans. And what's their motive, obviously? Like, you're just confused about the motive there.
And what do you think about, like, let's say, where these guys are all coming from?
Where the Titans are?
Well, these specifically, like, where do you think the Beast Titan's chilling out before making an appearance kind of thing?
I mean, I'm not fully aware because...
And yeah, you could just say, I don't have theories or whatever. That's fine, too.
Like, I'm trying to think of the whole world itself. And geographically, we're not too aware of what's like beyond those walls. We know that forest area, which
Titan Forest,
appearance. But besides that, like we're not too familiar. So I honestly have no clue at this point.
Well, you were thinking that like maybe he could be like a human, that beast, the furry one, right? So like maybe he could hide like within the civilization, like the others. Yeah. But also he's a monkey, right? Like he could climb walls. We've seen him climb walls before. So maybe he just like came from somewhere and hopped over. Who knows?
Yeah. How OP is that? Like being able to just like climb walls and like do whatever you want and then hide and like as a human, like crazy.
Yeah, that whole complication of how like Titans are humans, humans are Titans make it a lot more difficult to pinpoint where they're from. Because he could just be this regular dude in one of the villages, and then he is able to get past the walls, jump over the walls, and like it's so unclear.
Yeah. And what afterwards, like, so obviously we have that, like, it's crazy to think how wrecked the second strongest soldier of humanity got, right? Like the Beast Titan did not even like try. He's just like, oh, he forgot to even kill him. He's like, oh yeah, you guys can move, and then the Titans actually killed him. So that to me was the biggest perspective shift, where it's like the level from Levi to the second one is so big, it's insane, which just pumps up Levi more.
Well, as you pointed out, I feel like there's a big difference between Levi and the second strongest, and I do think Mikasa would have the potential to be much stronger than was his name Mike or Mick? I don't know.
Yeah, Mike is how they say it.
Mike, okay. Yeah. I think Mikasa has the potential to be much stronger than Mike as well. Although maybe like Mike has more experience, because we can even see like the difference between Levi and Mikasa fighting the female Titan. Mike was clearly Mikasa was clearly way less experienced and would have messed up without Levi, right? So maybe he just has a lot of experience, and clearly we saw him taking on a bunch of Titans by himself. Like he's no joke, Mike, but he was nowhere even close to the furry Titan.
Exactly, and he got caught off guard, and he was the guy who was like associated with like his smell, right? Like his sense of smell and smelling everything. So he had a unique quality too to make us like miss him more. But yeah, he got wrecked.
And to anyone wondering in chat, the reason why I'm calling him the furry Titan or the monk Titan is like I'm trying to be better at saying things as if I was an anime virgin, because I don't want to spoil stuff.
I do think Ray said the term.
Yeah, he literally called it correctly, and I was like, oh yeah, monk Titan.
Okay, we'll call him Monk.
We're gonna call him
Titan,
Monk.
Whatever. Yeah, because I'm also like trying to not say specific words and stuff like that. But yeah, no, we'll survive somehow. So there's the Monkey Titan. What it do we just jump to Utgard Castle after that?
Can I say one thing super quick? Because at
Yeah,
this
go ahead.
point, it's like it's so cool how Attack on Titan keeps on evolving. Like first, it's like okay, you got this premise of humans not being at the top of the food chain, getting eaten by these Titan monsters. Oh wait, humans are also Titans. Well, fuck. And then it's like they broke through the walls, but this time they're looking for a hole in the wall, and they can't find the hole in the wall. And it's like, how did these Titans get here? And oh wait, now we got a Beast Titan with intelligence. Like it just keeps on throwing you for a loop. And then we know that there's people that are hiding within humans that are actually Titans, and who's on whose side. Like it just keeps on evolving this story and changing and keeping you like on the edge of your seat. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And the way I describe it is it sets up these rules,
Hmm.
and then you start to have a sense of understanding the world and its rules. And then it keeps throwing wrenches that are complicating what you
Yep.
think is the world and what you think you understand. So, in that way, philosophically, it's very interesting because it's talking about how much do we know about a real world, too? What little tidbits are we being left out of? What are other people experiencing? So I really think that is one of my favorite things about Attack on Titan, and not a season goes by where almost like we don't learn something like that
Yeah.
that didn't make sense previously.
Imagine if it just stayed with the same like premise of just like okay, we got to kill the Titans and survive and like not let humanity go extinct. It would have been good, but it's nowhere near as good as like how convoluted this has gotten at this point. Like,
Mhm.
Exactly. And I was at like a convention before, and people said they didn't like the twist away from the original premise, but I gotta say I prefer after like it gets more and more complicated.
100%, it just keeps on getting better. The series.
Mhm. Just two things before we get to the castle that stuck out to me. Um, One being a little bit less significant, but I found it just interesting how we get. I think we see the first like small Titan. I think that's the one
Yeah, that
um,
was fucking creepy, man.
Sasha saw from
Yeah.
when she's rescuing the little kid out of the house. Like that was
I think it
interesting
was
to see.
bigger than like it originally looked because when I saw that scene, I was so freaked out because it literally looked like a human eating like
Mhm.
a relatively same size body. So it was very
Dude, I
creepy.
wonder who's bigger, Shaq or that guy or that Titan or like Yao Ming or that Titan. Like he just low key looked like a slightly bigger human.
Exactly. So that was really scary. And at the beginning, like I didn't even know he wasn't a human. I'm like, I don't remember this part, but it's freaking me out. Yeah.
And then
Keep
we get
going,
the
Ray.
other situation when Connie goes to his hometown. And I mean, people predict that probably everyone escaped before the Titans came, which looked kind of suspicious considering the horses were still there. So how is that
Yeah.
the case? And then you
There
get
was
the
no
Titan
blood
laying
too.
on his exactly. Then you get the Titan laying on his house, backwards staring at him, which one thing I did notice right away were the eyes of that Titan were the same eyes that he had.
Oh
So
shit.
I know
Ooh.
we get that situation later where he's like, "Yeah, I don't know, it looked like my mom," and he shows the picture, and Amir laughs at him. But I saw that right away, like their eyes look the same, and of course later on when he reveals that it said "Welcome home," I thought, "Oh shit, is that totally like a family member or his mom, whoever who transformed?" And like no idea how this happened, like what happened with the rest of the villagers, but yeah, I totally saw that could have been like his mom right there because of the same eyes. And like it looked like a female as well, laying on the house. So that was another noteworthy thing just before the cast I wanted to note.
No, that's good. And that's something like that I really appreciate in Attack on Titan, like the mystery and like the clues you're given to follow. Because they even mentioned like that the anatomy of the body, it didn't make sense. Like that
Mhm.
Titan could have never walked based on its body size compared to its legs, which were like ridiculously small. So it's like how the fuck did it get there? So and obviously we figure out later, like you said, that Connie tells them it's his mom, but it's like these little clues where it's like, how does a Titan get somewhere where it can't even walk. Like, it just keeps me guessing, and it's something I love about Attack on Titan.
And it just keeps on like changing it up, and like it's not like it gets repetitive in any way, because this time it's like last time they came from outside the walls. This time it's implying that what's it called, like potentially how do these people turn into Titans, right? There's no hole in the wall, right?
And in the last episode of this season, we do have Hanji straight up say that we have to assume, although we're not sure, that Titans were humans. They come from humans. That's their origin. In the last episode of this season. And then Levi feels like shit because he's like, man, I've been killing Titans this whole time. So just that is something that comes out. So that clearly is Connie's mother. And yeah, that was such a crazy moment. I do want to say, just before we go to Utgard Castle, to not skip like some Sasha awesomeness, because I know that Ray was super excited when he got 2 episodes focusing on Sasha. She was like amazing, absolutely amazing, saving that one girl. And how she didn't want to miss because she only had 1 arrow left. And so she took the arrow in her hand and just jumped to the Titan and stabbed it in the eye. Dude, Sasha, like, that was amazing.
Yeah, she was nervous about missing, so you might as well, the best way to be accurate is taking the arrow with your hand and doing it yourself. So
that is an insanely Chad way to do it.
That was so epic. And it's like we have her as a joke character too, obviously, with like all of the focus on food and stuff. And obviously you'll see that, Ray, in anime, like you have people who are complete jokes at one point, like, you know, having fun, and then can be super cool and epic at the other moment. Like One Piece is a great example of that. So there's our obligatory One Piece reference. But yeah, go ahead.
I am just very curious to ask you guys about the dub, because I am watching it in subbed. And we did get some like some layers to Sasha's character, where like obviously she's from like a hunting village in the forest. They have their own little like dialect type thing, and then when she came into like the city to become a soldier, she talks more politely and proper now. And how do they handle that in the dub?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I don't hear the difference really. No. I don't know what her like country bumpkin voice was supposed to be, but they do talk about it and how she's like changing her accent and stuff like that. But I don't notice a difference. I don't know, Briggs. Was it like very noticeable in the Japanese?
It wasn't like noticeable for me because I don't like speak Japanese, but the actual words in the subtitles were spelt differently, like implying that she had an accent and would word her sentences differently, and kind of like
they probably thought that would be too distracting maybe in the dub.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of sucks though. It's like, if this is part of her character, I wish the voice actor would have like done like a slight accent, or even just worded her sentences like less formally, right?
Yeah, no,
like you could tell her, like in the sub, you could tell her dad spoke distinctly different than everyone else in the series.
Yeah, I don't think we got that in the dub, Ray.
That's so sad.
No, I didn't get that. It was a short flashback too, with her and her dad, that I didn't notice anything significant in the way she spoke. So,
and her dad comes back though as well. Yeah. Because remember, like, he saves her. So yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, we can move on to Utgard Castle, where we're pretty much. What is the reason they're kind of chilling there? Are they just using it as a temporary base?
Yeah, I think it's a temporary base while they. But then obviously, I mean, what's interesting in there as well, we get that situation where Connie talks about his mom, and then Amir just laughs at him, and like in the most cruel way, just is like, you're crazy. And
yeah, laughter is very interesting. Laughter is very interesting in Attack on Titan, because you have her laughing there, like in a very weird like way. Yeah. Obviously, I'm sure the dub did that well, because it definitely seemed weird, and I'm sure it did in the Japanese too. Mm-hmm. And then you have, jumping ahead a bit, but you have Eren laughing when Hannes is killed, because he's like this crying, laughing kind of situation where he doesn't know how to respond because he's so mad that he's so powerless. But yeah, laughter is just interesting in Attack on Titan. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so that was interesting there. Like, why is she laughing so over the top? I'm wondering, like, does she have something to hide? Does she know something? And then obviously the interesting clue is right before the Titans come, and this is when everyone's going to bed, she's reading that that food can label, whatever it is. And it's in an old language, and Ryan is there, and he's like, how would you know how to read this? Like, how do you understand this particular dialect? And then we don't get the full answer, but I had like a huge question mark, because when I'm taking my notes, like a huge question mark, like, what the hell? Like, how is this significant? Didn't really put two and two together about she could be a Titan and she could have been around for a long time. But yeah, that was like a huge nugget that dropped there in terms of like, how could she read this? And then it's cut off right away because the Titans are there, and then they have to come up with a plan because one of the Titans went into the castle. Yeah, so that was, I think, a huge nugget there.
There were some crazy moments there when they started breaking in, Reiner being the hero, right? Like, straight up.
That was so weird. Looking back at it, it's so weird to see him being the hero.
Yeah, because you didn't know at this point that he was a Titan.
No.
Yeah. So you see him like straight up practically almost lose his arm by a Titan straight up grabbing it. And then he literally like throws a Titan out of the window, right? Like, how manly is that, bro? Like, what a Chad Ryder is at this point.
You think that he's such a dedicated soldier, right? And I do want to say, like, I had no idea Ymir was going to be a Titan either. Like, when I was watching it, I did not think so. I thought something was up because she was able to read a language that they didn't like read in this like within the walls, I guess, or whatever. But I just figured like there was something about her past, something about her like with history that would make her be able to read it. I had no idea she was going to be a Titan.
Yeah, me neither. And that's a thing, Ray. Like, you don't need to, find out. No one's going to hold it against you if you don't find out beforehand, because Attack on Titan does such a good job of, keeping a mystery until it's not. So yeah, don't feel bad ever if like you don't guess something. And definitely with Ymir, I didn't know she was going to be a Titan either.
Would you guys believe that I knew Reiner was going to be a Titan?
I do believe it because of the hair.
Yeah. So I wasn't confident.
You know what I mean?
I wasn't confident. I wasn't 100% sure. But after the female Titan appeared, I started thinking to myself, like, who else could be a Titan here? And I'm like, yo, his hair kind of looks similar. It might be. But then with every action that he did, I'm like, no, it can't be. It can't be.
Mm-hmm. And we figure out why that is, too, though, because he's literally a soldier because he has split personality disorder. And, like, sometimes he's straight up, like,
Sometimes he's a soldier with no memory of being a warrior, and sometimes a warrior, and, like, he's able to, like, do his original whatever it was.
Yeah, so that's, like, the thing. It's very psychological at Attack on Titan. It's not, again, Ray, you were like, I should be more cautious about who I trust kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And you have to be even more cautious than you think, because they could not even consciously know that they're someone else because of psychological issues. So, yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
And we get that flashback, too, before we find out about Reiner, about he saw, I think it was Marco getting eaten. And, like, you've seen he's been affected by Titans eating, like, friends that he has. So to get that, you think he's on the quote-unquote human side, right? He's not, he doesn't have this, other identity that's part of him. And to see him transform, that took me completely off guard. But the Ymir thing, it did shock me. But when she asked for the knife there, I actually thought she would use it to cut herself and then become a Titan.
Yeah.
I started to draw those parallels there.
At that point, you have to be wondering, like, what the fuck is she doing?
Yeah, you just gonna jump and try to go after the nape, but I didn't think so.
Stab them all in the eyeballs.
Exactly. Or kill Astoria. Like, you don't know. She just asked for a knife. But that was super interesting. So how many Titans do we have right now? Like, a lot. Yeah, we have a lot going on. And people just popping up. We don't know, like, if there are more among us. It's very interesting stuff. Ray, say something before I spoil anymore.
Okay, wait. What I need to ask Ray is, what were your thoughts on the reveal? Because we covered the castle kind of more or less, but then after the castle happens, they're on top of the wall, and we get the reveal from Reiner and Bertolt, right? Or I don't know how to pronounce his name, my bad. But
that was the craziest fucking reveal. But go ahead, because of just like how casual it seemed.
Yeah, he says it unlike the other ones where it's like this, like unexpected, right, transformation. He tells Eren about it and asks if
he
wants to be on his side. I'm thinking, what the fuck?
I think the first time I watched it, I was in shock, but this time I was just fucking laughing, man.
They did it so. I was laughing too because they did it so good. They're like following Mikasa, and it's just some kind of like background conversation.
Yeah,
so yeah,
and he's like,
yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
I'm
So
the
I'm the
armor
armored Titan, and Bertolt's the colossal.
He's the colossal Titan, Eren.
Oh my god, that destroyed me, bro. I laughed so much.
I remember Bertha's like, are we actually going to do this right now? Like, he was shocked that he's like, all right, well, we're going to transform.
That's like Bertolt to a T. Like, he's always looks like super nervous and like sweating and shy. Like, it's so funny watching him react to Bertolt, who's clearly like much less on edge most of the time than he is.
So, Ray, did you like this reveal, or would you have preferred it to be more badass? Like, I feel like it had a lot of potential to be really cool and badass, the reveal. And it kind of ended up being a little bit underwhelming, but also like unique in a way.
I loved it, but go ahead, Ray. Explain your thoughts.
I mean, my just reaction was, I like what Gozan said about it was like a background conversation, right? And like, I listened to it and I heard him say it, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I must have like misunderstood what he said, right? So I actually like paused it, went back a bit, and I'm like, holy shit, did he actually just say what I think he said? Like, it was just, I think it was just weird. Like, I didn't know how to respond to it. Whether it's good or bad, it was just so unexpected, like so different from
again, challenging your expectations. Yeah, because to be fair, we did get the epic reveal and transformation with Ymir. Right? That was epic. Like, she jumps down, we see the full transformation. Like, it was absolutely epic. There was the whole her in the past telling Historia to kind of, be true to herself, tell her real name when she reveals her true self. So she finally stops being Krista and becomes Historia, right? Taking on her true name. And yeah, I thought there was so much epicness around that. And it's nice that they kind of took it a completely different, unexpected route in this case. I actually really appreciated that.
Yeah,
I thought it was fresh.
I have mixed feelings. I feel like I like it really like a lot now, but I think initially I wasn't a huge fan.
Fair enough.
And now I'm biased because I love Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I absolutely love it, and I don't remember how I reacted when I initially saw this stuff because I probably read the manga, right?
Because now that I'm reading the manga and I kind of think it's a masterpiece, I look back, I'm like, oh my god, that was so unique and so well done. But I think at the time, like, bro, that was lame.
Yeah, maybe I was like a huge stan on it, like from at the very least season 2 from this season, which, as Ray says, like does get better than the first two. The first two are kind of just setting things up. We also kind of flew through this, but yeah, just something significant to keep in mind that it was nighttime when the Titans attacked, and we saw the Beast Titan again, and he kind of like climbed up the walls and peaced out. And so it was interesting because, again, you have Titans obeying him, but also at nighttime. So they're not even safe at nighttime anymore.
And do we know the reason? Like, I don't know if it's because it was explained later on, or I just go off of my own like thought process the first time I saw it. Ray, what do you think the reason was that they were able to operate at night?
I mean, I had no idea. I think it had something to do with maybe they're like, maybe there's different, what's the word? It's not brand, but like species of Titans. And perhaps there's some that, they're able to actually attack and actually, be productive at night. So I thought maybe like possibly another species, because we see this other Titan, this, monkey Titan, and obviously it looks like another species from other Titans as well. So I'm thinking maybe it has to do with that. But then another part of me is thinking maybe, this particular monkey Titan has the ability to control Titans no matter what time of day. Like maybe it's because of the influence of this abnormal Titan. So those are my two thoughts.
He's a game changer, definitely. And yeah, I think that's fair, especially with like the information we got released so far.
Yeah, I just don't want to like spoil anything accidentally. So like that's why I just wanted to hear his thought process.
Yeah, and I'm always having that battle too, because like I really like discussing previous stuff in light of future stuff, and this whole time I'm like trying to make sure that I don't.
Speaking of which, the entire time I was watching season 1, you look at characters differently. Like you look at Reiner differently. Every action he makes, every conversation he has, every reaction he has to the things around him. The first time you don't think anything of it, but then the second time going through it, you're like, well, I know he's the Titan, right? Like, I know he's not on their side. So you look at his reactions differently, you know, and it was so
exactly.
Cool.
And even like, and Eren brings this up later, I believe, or maybe it was Connie or Jean, but you have the situation where they literally were friends with them and were sleeping peacefully next to them. They were using Bertolt's body to predict the weather, and like all of this stuff that you would do with friends and seeming innocent, right? They could sleep with no problem, and then it's hard for them to believe because they straight up like destroyed the walls, right? The Colossal and the Armored Titan. So, yeah, Ray, I don't know how you feel of past actions in light of the new discoveries.
Yeah, I would love to go back and rewatch like parts of season 1. And
they clearly did a good job since you didn't see it coming.
No, not at all.
With Bertolt, like his weirdness could kind of be just like his shyness kind of thing, right? You might assume he's just like, shyer than the average dude.
And I definitely didn't even pick up on any of these subtle hints or like reactions the first time I watched it either, because I didn't even start thinking until we knew who the female Titan was, and like that one was relatively obvious. I didn't start thinking. We had 5 years in between the seasons, right? So like I feel like after I watched it, I started thinking and like saw people talk about it on Twitter and stuff like that. We had all this time to digest it and like look back, while like just kind of binging it, like you could just easily not think about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was binging it like the first time I went through it, and might have been just binging the manga, and I definitely saw Annie as the female Titan because of like the hair and I did, like you, see Reiner as possibly being the Armored Titan because they do have a similar aesthetic if you like really look at it. But yeah, Bertolt didn't cross my mind. It probably would have made sense if I'm like, okay, if these two are, then he spends the most time with them. But because he's probably out of view a lot, and like I was just reading
I don't even remember who that guy was. He was the tall guy who didn't talk much. Like I still don't know his fucking name.
Exactly.
Well, clearly it's going to be relevant in the future. But yeah, no, for sure. Anything else, Ray, that really got you crazy about this show?
I mean, the fight itself was interesting between Eren and Reiner.
Yeah, the Armored Titan, yeah. No, and I just want to say, I'm going to throw it back to you, but it's so crazy how untouchable he is. Because Mikasa and even Levi is taken a bit out of commission this season because of the injury he got against the female Titan, because he had to save Mikasa. But there's probably a chance that he wouldn't have been able to do anything against Reiner too, because their swords just break off, right? The nape is completely hardened all the time. So Eren had to figure out a way to do it, and luckily he did figure out a way to kind of overpower him.
Dude, how cool was that fight though? Watching two Titans grapple.
Yeah, like I'm not huge into wrestling, but it was epic. As far as
I found it so much cooler than the just throwing punches like chaotically, because like clearly now they're thinking, they're using their brain, and like
strategy.
It was strategy in this fight, and it was so well animated. I absolutely loved it.
It was amazing for sure. I gotta admit, I do love the other kind of fighting too, but the strategy, definitely in any situation, strategy is gonna be like my preferred way of consuming fights.
I'm telling you, there's very little that's repetitive with Attack on Titan. Like everything is like, every time they do something, it's like, think about the female Titan versus Eren the first time, and then compare it to like Eren fighting Reiner this time. Like it was a completely different fight, and I appreciate that so much.
And they have different unique attributes, right? The different Titans, so you're gonna need a new method to beat each one.
Plus, Eren is getting better each time and learning how to try to fight these guys, right? Like he was very new to his Titan form initially.
Yeah, but go ahead, Ray. Give us your thoughts on that fight.
Oh, I just love the flashback there with Annie, and how you saw like his weakness at the time, right? And how he used that as like, again, strategy for this fight, and thinking, like if I put him in that kind of lock position, which is that an actual wrestling move? I'm trying to think if there's an actual
I'm guessing it definitely is.
Oh yeah. He had him in a armbar at one point. He had him in
Like, is a full Nelson a thing that was used or no?
I don't know. I don't know the exact terminology, but he had him more or less in a headlock from a different position. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that was, I mean, using strategy there, thinking, you could squeeze him in such a way that it could, end up breaking the skin, the armor. I think that was really cool. And I love just how like the past helped to inform him of the strategy to use now. So that was,
and the irony of it being Annie who gave him the key to beating Reiner, right?
Yeah.
So that
temporarily at least,
that was not lost on me. Yeah. And that's the thing. You pointed out temporarily. And clearly Eren was winning there, which, props to Eren. He's new with this stuff. We don't know how, we don't know the story behind these other guys, but Eren is new to this stuff, and he finds a way to actually beat the seemingly indestructible armored Titan. But then, of course, Bertolt falls with his colossal Titan and causes an explosion that actually really hurts like most of the people nearby.
Yeah, it knocked Mikasa out for like 5 hours, right?
Yeah, so that was and then again, it's like a meme at this point. Eren keeps getting kidnapped, right? So like first he gets kidnapped by the female Titan, then he gets kidnapped by these guys, and Mikasa's always chasing after him. So that's something I've been noticing, like a recurring pattern.
And like there's still so much mystery. Technically, we don't even know why they're trying to capture Eren.
No.
Other than the fact that he's also a Titan, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the end, I think it's a bit revealed for us, but at the time you're wondering, why do they have this obsession with taking him? And then I don't know if we mentioned this, but Bertha ends up taking a mirror in his mouth. So obviously they want like her as well. And they all run off there at the end. I think like he's back into human form. They go into like Reiner picks them up and he takes them off. And I think that's the end of episode 33. But I mean, they're all in rough shape too. I'm pretty sure Amir was like in a coma, lost like an arm and a leg. Eren lost both his arms, but obviously we learned that because of whatever Titan capabilities they have, they could grow this stuff back.
Regeneration.
Again, is kind of a mystery in terms of that as well. But we end off with them running away, and it's this like constant motif as well of them running with Eren and other people trying to chase them.
Which is why I actually liked the ending of this, because Eren, you finally had an instance where Eren saves Mikasa, which I thought was really cool, because this whole time, he's kind of been getting into trouble and he's been needing saving, which is fine. But you finally have a moment where, at the climax of this season, Mikasa and him are together, and then he's the one to actually save it. Although, to be fair, that could have gone very differently if he didn't randomly, figure out that he could use those powers or whatever. But yeah, go ahead. So let's continue then where they trapped him. We're on the trees. They're having that conversation with Eren, and those guys are waiting for horses, I believe, so that they could start chasing them.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite moments in season 2, when they're on those trees and they're having that like deeply philosophical discussion. Like Eren asks like, who is the enemy? And there's like, pause, like
who is the enemy, man?
Yeah, because I love that whole theme within this season. And there's the idea of like, we get the flashbacks as well, which are very beneficial about Amir, and we learn more about Krista, who is actually Historia. So that whole sequence, I really liked it. It helped me out in terms of getting some context. But again, like it's so abstract. Like it's not just a binary thing. Who is the enemy? It's you. It's I. Like it makes things complex. And even Reina's like dual personality, like you said, like he's trying to be an honorable kind of noble soldier in the one hand, but then he's also a murderer. And Eren calls him out as well. Like calls him a murderer. And he's like shooken up, and he's struggling with his identity as well. So I love that exchange there on the trees. I think it's like really great.
And you could say Eren is a murderer too, in a sense, because he killed those kidnappers who were kidnapping Mikasa, but he had a really good reason, right? But he still killed people. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, what's it called? There was two really cool things with Ymir. We got her backstory, but we also get the fact that she ate one of Reiner
Mhm.
and Bertolt's friends slash comrades.
And didn't
Yes.
really remember it either.
Yes.
I think she says, yeah.
Yeah. So that what did you make of that, Ray?
Yeah, I mean that's interesting too because like consciousness within the Titan state is confusing at this point. Like how much control can they have? What do you remember? What do you not remember? And when she says there, which I mentioned earlier, before Eren like goes out of consciousness, the idea that like, yeah, 60 years I've been like wandering outside the walls. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, what? Like how have you not like aged
Yeah, she looks good for a
uniform? Yeah, like,
60-year-old woman.
or at least not that much. And so that whole situation was super confusing.
So how do you feel right now about Bertolt and Reiner? Do you feel like they're pieces of shit? Are you wondering why Emir seems to be taking like some pity on them and is actually helping them out instead of seeing them for the like murderers they are? Or are you
Well,
just confused, like you don't know what to think?
well, I mean, at least Reiner himself, he seems pretty divided. Like he's having trouble. Either he has like split personality disorder, or he's just he's super divided with like who he is. Like, is he someone noble? Is he someone who's a murderer? So I do take like pity in him in a way because he cries at one point when they're talking on the trees and like he's struggling himself. So it's I don't think they're total pieces of shit when it comes to like his buddy there. He just seems like someone who again, like I don't know if it's lacking confidence, but like he's shy. He kind of just goes with the flow and does what Reiner tells him to do. So I don't know. I think I look more lowly on him than I do Reiner, but it looks like Reiner's struggling with something, and he does like come through earlier on when they're in the castle. Like he saves Connie there at one point. He
Yeah,
has the
exactly.
trauma
He's
with
risking his life to save
yeah.
like these guys.
He has the trauma like seeing the Titans kill Marco. So I don't know. I don't feel as bad when it comes to Reiner.
We also get Bertolt saying that like, you think we wanted to do this? You think we had a choice? Which makes
Yeah,
it
no, that's
it makes
true.
you think as well, right? Like I
Yeah,
don't
it's so
like obviously I don't
mysterious
feel
too.
bad for them, but like because at the end of the day you always have a choice. And I'd imagine Reinhardt's what's it called split personality disorder was more of a maybe an effect because of the trauma he went through
Mhm.
prior to making
Yeah.
like no not prior after making the decisions to attack humanity, right?
Yeah, and like the whole thing is, I agree with Briggs because Mikasa's in the right in my opinion when she's like ready to kill them. Like, we know now that they're the reason they lost their family. They're they're continuing to be like, oh no, we were friends, blah blah blah. We feel bad, but they're still not giving Eren back. So it's like, fuck, obviously kill them.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, but
there's
Mikasa
no question
hesitated. Well, this is what we were talking about earlier. Mikasa
because
hesitated.
Historia showed up. Yeah.
She no, but even on top
Oh,
of the
even.
wall when she attacked them, she said like I should have just cut off their heads. So
Oh
which makes me think that
yes,
she hesitate and just
yes.
attack them to like wound them and not kill because they're
Yes.
so-called friends. And
I
then
overlooked that part. Yeah.
yes, and then on the next like what ends up happening afterwards when like she's attacking them and she kind of stops because of Historia and she says it's either you're with Eren or you're with them type of thing. Like she makes the
Exactly.
decision to like be like I don't have time for empathy or trust. It's like I trust Eren. We're gonna save Eren. If you're on Eren's side, good. If you're not on Eren's side, I will kill you. Like you're my enemy.
Exactly. And she said this as a quote. There are only so many lives I can give a damn about.
Hmm.
So that's what she said. And I mean, that's a philosophical take too. Like, do you have to pick, in certain situations, just people that you're gonna worry about in life, and then just, you always prioritize them? Or do you have like a Buddhist monk approach where you're like, you know, the life of a fly is, well, this is like a caricature, so
It is,
I'm
yeah,
not
because
saying, but like a fly or a spider or like any human is like the life is the life and it's like the same and you have to respect it. So there is this kind of debate going on.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah, because some Zen Buddhists, like the ones who are involved in certain conflicts in the past, would say my body is like detached from my mind. Therefore, if I murder someone, it's not like an immoral act. But yeah, it is interesting there in terms of like that hesitation with Mikasa. It's not like it wouldn't be based on shock because they already had like a hunch before that they were probably the Titans. I think we're told in a flashback that they were like
they were told that they kind of registered with Annie at the same time, and they're the most likely culprits, but then they just kept looking at Reiner's behavior and they're like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
Armin comes to the conclusion, right? Because he's like, well, we lied and told everyone false information, or they came to this conclusion. They lied, told everyone false information about where Eren was, and then where does the Titan show up? That's where they lied and told Reiner where Eren was. That's where the Titan first appears, and that's not enough. But then on top of that, Reiner was the one asking, so where Eren actually is, and then after their encounter, the female Titan heads straight to where he actually is.
Yeah, I love these kinds of moments because looking back, you're like, oh, it falls in line so perfectly. But at the time, you had the chance to kind of pick up on the clues, and I absolutely love that. And Reiner even we figured out he etched directions or whatever into Annie's hand, and that's how she knew right away where straight to go. That's why he survived after being fucking grabbed by the female Titan, like no one else that happens to. So yeah, everything is just falling into place perfectly. It's such a well mapped out story. But yes, we have to definitely touch on Erwin. Briggs says his favorite character, and in my opinion, it's hard for him not to be your favorite character this season.
Dude, that smile. That smile at the end.
Fucking epic. Yeah, the smile at the end, but that's not even the main thing. For me, it was two things. So the epic charge for the Armor Titan, because at this point, Eren can't transform. They have no other way to beat the Armor Titan, right? So someone had to come up with a plan. And so you have literally the craziest plan ever, which pretty much Erwin is known for. He leads a bunch of Titans into the Armored Titan so that they'd attack him, right? So if they can't take him out, they'll have Titans take him out, which for one thing is very interesting. And then of course he gets his fucking arm bitten off by a Titan, which shocked me at the moment because it's like, bro, that was so random, but that's how it is in these conflicts and battles. And then he just says, completely unfazed, keep going, don't worry about me, keep charging,
Sasageo. Absolute chills.
It's so good. It's chills. And Sasageo, by the way, I believe Ray means devote your hearts, and his heart is so devoted. He's so he has such a fire inside him, and he's burning for life. He's burning with purpose. And yeah, man, I could totally see why he'd be someone's favorite character.
I love Erwin.
Yeah, there's nothing to I mean, yeah, you can find faults in every character, but yeah, for the sheer hype he brings to the table, it's amazing. And he's such a great leader. I absolutely love him. Yeah, Ray, what were your thoughts on that whole exchange afterwards, after they saw that the Survey Corps was chasing after them, and then they started chasing after the Armored Titan?
Yeah, it was pretty epic there. Definitely Erwin, that whole situation stuck in my head. I love just how determined he is. We get the situation where they're trying to get, I believe, Eren out because the Armored Titan is blocking it with his hands. And I think how Eren gets out himself, is it he actually, because the Titans charge,
I think it's because he has to lower his guard because there's so many Titans around that they need to actually fight him.
Yeah. Then he cuts Berta's arm to release him, and then Mikasa comes to rescue him.
No, but I think it was Erwin, right? Was it not Erwin? Yeah, I think Erwin rescued him. Yeah, I think he straight up rescued Eren with one arm, bro. Yeah. Again, another epic Erwin moment. I mean, Mikasa would have definitely liked to, but I think Erwin just took advantage of the opportunity. And
now that I'm thinking back, I think he's the initial person to break him out, and then he ends up cutting his arm, and then Mikasa comes to just grab him while he's leaving the Armored Titan.
Yes,
and he's the one who initiates it.
The epic thing about Erwin, bro, is that literally he's not Levi level combat. right?
No, he's just so good. He's so smart and so good at prioritizing what's the most important thing to do right now. Like he knows
has such
what
a good character. Like he has such good principles, like set in stone, and he doesn't hesitate. He carries it out. He practices what he preaches. Like it's such a good character, man. Nobody shines more than him, like so far in this season. It was fucking amazing. But yeah, carry on, Ray.
Another thing, I guess, with this whole situation, Krista and Amir, just their relationship. I mean, I thought was interesting, just like two like outsiders, especially when we learn about their pasts, right? Two people who had to kind of like live a lie. And that whole situation there is interesting. And I mean, just Reiner's obsession. It seems like everyone's obsessed with Krista too. Like Ryan is obsessed with her. I love that moment when like this the castle scene when he has the wound and then she rips part of her like skirt and then he thinks to himself like, marry me. He's just,
No, it's so and at that point, like how could you expect him to be a traitor? You know, aside from the lookalike, like the Armored Titan, but like that's such a, you know, anime like innocent guy kind of thought to have, you know.
His actions wouldn't make sense unless he had like split personality disorder, right? Like it's actually like crazy.
And yeah, Kurt definitely Historia turns a lot of heads. A lot of people like Historia for sure.
Yeah, though I did find her, maybe it was the voice in the dub, I did find her like slightly annoying.
Maybe it's the voice. I mean, definitely so cute, the voice is a lot. Yeah, so I think Ray would find Kawaii like annoying.
Anime
so I think he's that kind of personality. Yeah, but obviously because he's the anime version, we haven't been exposed to it a lot. We watched Dragon Ball, but I don't think there's any like those kinds of characters.
It's okay, Ray. I'm gonna bring you back for the K-On! version.
Yeah. I still need to watch K-On! Too, bro. So
it's actually really good.
Yeah. No, I'm down to like watch all these ones, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah, exactly. There is that hype around Historia. What else before like, you know, we end this season? What else do we have to talk about?
Well, I mean, there's obviously the one at the end, the scene where Eren spots the Titan who ate his mother.
Exactly. The smiling Titan. Yes. No, for sure. That was a fucking crazy moment. What went through your head at that point? This whole time, Hannes is there too, right? We haven't talked about him a lot, but Hannes was like keeping Armin and Mikasa on track when they were like kind of losing it and pissed off that Eren got away and they couldn't chase him right away. Hannes was the guy who was like, bro, don't worry, we're going to bring things back to the way they were here. And then he motivated them to like continue eating because they had lost their appetite, but then he filled them with purpose. And so he was this whole time playing a very supportive role when the Smiling Titan shows up.
Yeah, and he obviously has on his conscience too about like blaming himself for the past. So
yeah,
he's definitely he does have that role there. That was,
and he's a very human character there. Yeah.
But the part where he tries to transform, is that he doesn't transform? Is it because of his injury at the time? Because he seems to have had like all his limbs.
Eren, yeah. So his hands didn't end up growing back.
Not fully
yet before he was biting himself. Yeah.
All right, and you need to have everything fully intact in order to transform.
That's what was implied, especially when they were on the tree, and Reiner's like, your body can only do so much. Like it's busy on healing you, and then Eren took his word for it. But then later when he tries it, he couldn't transform. So yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah. So no, that whole situation, but of course, like the I mean, I think even before we get that part where he charges the Titan, we get that moment with Mikasa and Eren when he like, you referred to it before, he like goes on all fours and he's like having this painful cry. Like it was painful even to watch.
It was painful to watch, and it was painful to see Mikasa's reaction to it. Because she was like viewing this guy who, you know, she looks up to. It's like her closest person in the world. It's her purpose for living, pretty much. And he's just like bawling, breaking, feeling worthless because he can't do anything.
Yeah, so that was really tough to see. And then obviously like her being able to help him reframe like his purpose, I thought was interesting. And we referred to it last time, but yeah, you could totally see she's got those feels for him.
She's got the hots for him, bro.
Though he I don't know if it's he doesn't recognize or it's just not a priority, but he
does say, to be fair, he does say, I will always be there to put on your scarf. In the dub.
But
I don't know if it's something else in the subreddit.
I don't remember that.
But yeah, that's what he says. So I mean, to me, that implies at the very least he'll always be there for her, if not a romantic interest.
When does he say this? Does he say this when her scarf falls off when like she's sleeping in the room next to him, like watching him recover, or just in the last episode?
This is straight up like during the middle of the battle.
Okay.
And Mikasa's trying to talk like some sense into Eren, because he's like pretty much given up at this point for being so weak, and he's crying, and then she says like, no, listen, you've given me like a purpose to live, you're amazing, you gave me a place to belong. And then she mentions the scarf and how much that meant to her, because she wears this scarf constantly, because that's the one he wrapped around her when they took her in after her parents were killed. And then he finally says, kind of, she's leading in almost like it could be a kiss moment, right?
I was waiting for you.
It could end up like this amazing kiss moment, but then Eren's like, no, he takes that as motivation. He's like, I will always be there to put on your scarf. And then he rises to protect her from the Smiling Titan. So I don't want to conclude that Eren doesn't like Mikasa in that way, but I don't know.
I thought I thought Ymir and Historia had something going on.
Yes. I was waiting to say that. I just wanted to know if I was crazy for thinking that, but
or at the very least, I thought Ymir had something, some feelings for Krista / Historia.
Yeah, they're very much like talking like soulmates, right?
Yeah, and I don't
like, you complete me. I need you. I need to do what's best for you.
And I think it starts. So for Ymir, it started off as her just wanting to use Historia because like she knows something about her, and the same reason Reiner and Bertolt want her as well, right?
Yeah. And so she is special. That's been established. You know, those church authorities were talking about her. And we'll figure out more as we go. But yeah, she is special. So, yeah, go ahead, Dre.
I was going to say, speaking as well about some of those flashbacks with Ymir and Historia, we do get, I think, something revealed. I would have to go back maybe, but when when she's involved in that like cult, and the officials end up coming in and breaking it down, and they take her. This was like her first transformation. I think they say something like they gave her the ability, or they gave her something, the ability to transform, but it's not revealed what it is.
They don't show it super clearly. You just see her like on the edge of something. They do something like almost off screen, and then they fall, and you see the lightning that like turns them into a Titan, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, we know something happened there. How did they do it? We still don't know yet, right?
Yeah, and Ray, we're not gonna like say much more about that. I mean, if you want to tackle it, you could, but yeah, that's good that you brought that up, because that is an interesting moment.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that was just something important from the flashback. I think I wanted just to mention. But
so how do you think? Actually, I want to have a question. So we know that she wandered for like 60 years.
Yeah.
How do you think she was able to like turn into a human, or like be able to get to Wall Maria or whatever? Like, what's your thought process?
I mean, I'm not 100% sure. That didn't even really cross my mind instead of thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah, that's completely fine. I just wanted to ask just in case you had some thoughts, but you'll learn more, and we'll get into it in the next season.
Exactly. But it's another mystery. Yeah.
What I mean, my big mystery I was thinking of, and I kind of mentioned it before, was just the whole aging thing. Like how, because this would have been 60 years ago. So how is it when that ability to transform happened? why is it there hasn't been much aging since then? That's what I'm confused about. And then at the same time, I'm thinking, if this happened to her 60 years ago, some of these other people who, could transform, like how old are they and what's their background story? Like, are they as young as they appear? Right. So that complicates things as well for the other transforming Titans.
But we also know that we were able to see a child form of Reiner and Bertolt, right? Like we saw them as kids and they definitely aged.
Yeah, that goes for Annie too.
Goes for Annie as well, right? So it's interesting.
No, it's confusing how there's inconsistency there.
Can they manipulate their age? Yeah, we have no idea. Yeah, so Hannes, I do want to say, although he obviously got destroyed by the Smiling Titan, and it was emotional because he had history with these three, right? He was with them before any of these like Survey Corps members were, but he like went out like a man. You know what I mean? Yeah, he got destroyed, but respect to him. Before, he was too scared to try to take on the Smiling Titan, and although he didn't succeed, he died. He was brave and he acted to do the right thing. And for that, I respect him. I just want to say that.
No, me too, yeah. Because he had no chance, I would say. So, like, he understands the history there. And I think he still has the guilt about his mom. And, I did respect that.
Yeah, that must have haunted him, like, beyond like belief off screen because of the way he acted like during these moments. What else was there? There was like obviously, like I said, Eren like saving Mikasa for me was amazing. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, yeah, I mean saving her, and at the same time, I know they're confused about it initially, but just why the Titans are like obey or just leaving the humans alone and attacking the one Titan, the Smiling Titan, and then eventually the other Titan, Reiner, they're attacking him. But I mean, that whole situation there, I was at first I thought it was
what did you think?
Like a pure coincidence. Like I didn't put together the
That's
whole.
Hilarious.
Just the idea that he right when he like threw his hand, then the Titan jumped over him. I thought it was coincidence at first, and then I'm like, yeah, this isn't the case. When everyone started charging, and like you could tell there was intention behind it. It wasn't just like a pure coincidence, because really it couldn't be, because we know that they wouldn't attack each other, right? They attack like the human ones, but they wouldn't attack. Even that is up for debate, I guess. But they wouldn't attack each other. So that's that got clarified a bit more near the end when we learned that Eren has this ability to control things, and I guess as revealed, that's why he's such a hot commodity. Why Reiner wants him, because he has the hidden ability that he can actually manipulate Titans. Though again, does he know how to use it? I would argue probably not fully at this stage.
Yeah, and they did mention him being the coordinate. We don't know what that means, but they did mention that as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's still a mystery. I mean, I do find the very end, which you kind of alluded to, was interesting, how they have this theory that humans are Titans.
And I don't know if you stop to read the half screen, like in the middle of every episode, there's some information given to you. Yeah, so they pretty much said that. Yeah. It surprises me because sometimes they say stuff before like the anime actually says it. And yeah, one of the things that said in one of those is that they believe that humans are the origin in the Titan, like classified Titan research, whatever. So they actually said that before Hanji even said that to Levi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's such an interesting transformation. Again, this perspective of the Titans throughout this season, because like the very opening of season 2, we get that whole recap, and there's this emphasis of the walls, the emphasis of human versus Titan. And now by the end of it, like there's this, huge ambiguity in terms of humans are Titans, Titans are humans, like who came first and
how in control are they? Like what's going on in that sense?
So it's so much
Who
more.
came first, bro? The Titan or the human? Who the fuck came first? Who knows?
And that wall too. I mean, they talk about like the wall itself. It's always been like this literal wall, and now it's acting more as this like figurative idea.
Yeah,
that's,
I love it.
It's like it's this barrier preventing them from learning about the truth of the past, the truth of humanity.
Yeah, just the truth. Yeah, there's an Erwin quote that says, so after he smiles, right, he says, like, pretty much he stops smiling after Levi gets freaked out, but he says they're one step closer to the truth. So clearly he's drawn by that. He says everything comes at a price. One day we'll overcome the wall, barring us from the truth. So yeah, the wall has become like this kind of metaphor and something standing in their way of actually knowing the truth of this world.
And then at the very end, right after that, it zooms up to the like monkey titan. And something else interesting I didn't mention is I find it interesting how the humans could actually be out of the titan body, like still be on it, but out of it. And the titan could still be like able to move and stuff.
Yeah, we saw that with Amir, yeah.
Amir,
as long as they don't detach completely, I guess.
Yeah. We get it with the monkey and the guy on the monkey, who I presume is the person controlling it, and he's like, not yet. So like,
I know, what the fuck did that mean?
Signaling that like, no, like it's still going to be ambiguous probably for next season at least. Like we're not just going to be told these truths right away.
Yeah, they did a good job keeping the hype going there. Because I doubt we had that kind of moment in the manga. I'm pretty sure we didn't. So I think that's a way that they kind of kept the hype going until the next season, where obviously we'll figure out more about who this is. So yeah, that's I think we did a pretty good job of covering. Anything else you guys want to mention before we wrap it up?
I do want to say that we are going to be covering the first half of season 3 next week. We didn't mention that just yet. Is it 12 episodes or 13? I'll look it up while you guys discuss some more.
Yeah. So yeah, you can look that up. It's going to be either 12 or 13. Briggs will figure it out. Ray, anything else that you wanted to mention? Well, no, you have the mic.
I mean, I totally get what you guys are coming from in terms of it gets better as we progress, and definitely I really liked this season. Like so many aspects of it, but I love the philosophical stuff. I love things becoming unclear, and again, I mentioned it before, but the walls standing as not just literal walls, but they're preventing them from learning the truth. And I'm really interested, like, what is human now? What is Titan?
Yeah, what is human? What is the truth?
What is the enemy?
And I think it really asks like important questions, like, so Erwin is someone who is willing to sacrifice lives for the truth, right? Like we've established that. But like, so how do you compare that to someone who, let's say, is fine with being inside the walls and just living a peaceful life? If obviously I'm talking pre Colossal Titan, like kind of ruining everything, and like the Armor Titan ruining everything. But could you make the argument that, hey, rather than, finding the truth, is it just better to kind of chill in the walls and do your thing and enjoy life? You
get that whole story of like Plato's allegory of the cave. Like,
yes, you do
not look at the actual truth outside the cave. You just look at the reflection of the fire. And
exactly.
I think that's what the world is.
And they're trying to find their way outside of the cave. Love that you brought that up. I tend to bring that up a lot when discussing anime. But yeah, I appreciate that. Briggs, do we know yet?
Yes, the first 12 episodes.
Yeah, so the first 12 episodes, very manageable. Okay, very cool. Guys, remember that you can find us on all the podcast platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'd appreciate if you left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you enjoy. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang.